Hi class, I wanted to give you some video feedback. I'm going to look at these as a first-time site visitor, even though I've looked at them before. I'm going to go through and let you know how your site is functioning, if the content is there. And so you will take the comments and you might want to make a bulleted list because you will be asked to provide one. And then you can post that for your revisions and make these edits. If you want, you could go to this video, export the transcript, and ask chat to give you a bulleted list. That's a possibility. May seem like another step to you or may seem easier. All right, so let's dive in. Nick, I think you want to have either, you don't have to have a homepage, but we need to have something here if you're going to. It could be even a little cool button or small white animation line drawing about sports, you know, like a little icon kicking a football or whatever, and you kick off, whatever. But otherwise, you would want a little demo reel here, something short, but nothing that takes up a lot of space or storage, okay? All right, so let's take a look and go to the About. Okay, good. Circles don't always work, but it's working okay here. And you have this, it's left aligned, easy to read, good job. Let's extend this column so we don't have that wrapping there. And good job, you're linked up. Good. You won't need the privacy, the accessibility, maybe. We want to make sure that it's not going to be just the template. Okay, this is the template, so you'll want to make sure that in week 4, you update all of that, okay, when we get to accessibility. Let's see. Okay, everything is high contrast enough. Love that. Good, good. I close this up, and good. Your footer's not too deep. Okay. This is placeholder. I want to remove that, all right, for sure. And make these a little higher contrast so we can see them and link those up. You can decide, you could just have it there if you like. Let's go back here. I want to check your descriptions and what happens when we click on this. Okay, perfect. You've got your description. Okay. This template, has a lot of headroom up here, but it's just one scroll. It's not too bad. I can still see some of the video and get into it just really simply. Okay, nice work, nice work. And let's check out the mobile. You want to close this up for sure. Bring this, your tagline of what you do up here. We've got a lot on that, that page. A lot of not much, all right, but do bring that up into your header. Good. You can close that up a little bit. I recommend using this font in your header up here rather than that. Okay, you could move these above this on your mobile, maybe. Okay. All right. Nice work. Great start. You don't have too many edits. They're kind of sweeping. Once you make them, it's going to make a big difference. Good job. We do need to rename this. This has the template name up here. You can see. But otherwise, you do have your name here, and that's important. Great. We have a couple of different fonts going on. This is different from that, and so makes it a little harder to see. You see it's different. I would be more consistent and just use 2 fonts. Closing that up. Okay, nice. Yeah, make this a little bigger, and I would choose a sans serif so we don't have those strokes. This font is good, and that font is Poppins. Probably came with your template. That matching the navigation often looks good. All right. Let's see. Okay. And use that same font here. That's up here. Be more legible. Good job. I am going to go ahead and tell everybody that I know we have you produce your about content using chat. That's so you can learn more about it, practice with it. There are tell signs that someone has used chat, and one of those is the M dash. And we only have, I think, one here, so that's really great. But go through and you can put commas there instead, but make it more human so it doesn't look just like AI. We already had you give it details, which is an important step, but that's just one of the signs that someone has used AI. Make sure that this is a Google Voice, a free Google Voice number, and otherwise terrific, terrific. Yeah, just a little bit of font change, I think. Let's look at the mobile. Okay, we've got some what feels like stacking. When I get like 4 lines of text, it can kind of be busy. You could just put this up here, and we don't have to say welcome as long as it is welcoming. So you could take this out, move this, replace this with this. I'm not sure this font will work with that, but this with a simple font like this will work very well. Okay. And you'll want to, this may not actually look like this. Let me refresh. Okay. All right. Want to make sure there's some social links. Yeah, you want to just make sure that you include at least a LinkedIn, okay, a professional site. All right, great job. Okay, Matthew, nice. May or may not want to close that up. We'll see. This, if this is navigation or search, we want to take care of that. Probably you want this up here. Yeah, that's where people are accustomed to finding it. So I would move this definitely to your header. I would center this and bring this content in. All right, make sure that you're not viewing it and working at 80%. All right, sometimes students kind of do that, and so it may look like that to you, but I'm looking at it full screen. It's like this, so check that out. This has an extra period there. Take that out. But otherwise, everything's looking great. That looks like Braden Wall, but I'm sure it's not. And let's see, do you need a little bit there to make sure everything is centered? Okay. Okay, good. Yeah, you're just going to want to move that navigation up there for sure. And have at least a LinkedIn, a professional link. All right. Mobile. Closing that gap. On your mobile, you actually can, this isn't too bad. You can move it to the left and left align it if you want. You could keep it the way it is. Okay. Nice. Okay. Okay. Did that happen on the about? Did we get that? Yes, but it's over here. And then this one comes up centered. we want higher contrast there, as much as I like that color combination. And this comes up here. So the about, I guess, would come up to the same place. All right, it's looking great. This is a little stretched, kerning between letters. That could be closed up a little bit. Great job. All right. Okay, Carlton, good job. Nice and clean. Ideally, we're not going to have a fly out like this. It's an extra step for people. Good job. This is not a contact form, and we'll see on your other, if you are linked here to a contact form. Take out these and the privacy policy. And then if you keep the accessibility, you'll need to update that. But this is for people who can subscribe to you, a newsletter. You would want to make sure that you are checking that email, looking for that and so forth. But this is not a contact form. So let's see what you have. Okay, you have this and you have a contact form. Good. Make sure this is not your address. And center this if you're going to do that. Good job linking up. Good. Make sure that's a Google Voice and not your personal cell, unless you have a phone that's specifically designated for your work. Okay. Good. Okay, you could put a little bit more on this, but I wouldn't put more than a line. Okay, that's coming up slowly. Nice. Yeah, if you're going to make font overlapping, make sure it's like that. Okay. And good, we don't require them to play it unless they want to. The audio, that is, unless, yeah. Okay. All right. Let's take a look here. We want to make sure that we don't have those letters being cropped on your mobile. A little bit more line space here than here. Okay. A little bit of space there would work. If the image allows it, it may not. The resolution may not. You could go a little bit bigger on that. Not much, but a little. All right. You guys can go ahead and put 2026 while you're editing. Yeah. You can freeze your navigation to where this is always available. All of this is always there. There's a lot of stacking going on here that's probably not necessary. If you can condense this in any way, that'd be cool. And okay. Nice work. Clean. Love that. Love it. All right, let's take a look at another one. Alex. Cool. I like that. Probably could go just a hair bigger, but not necessarily. If you are like this, I'm not sure you need the divider there. Let's see. You might be able to just use this and put this underneath it and put that in the center for your mobile. Let's see how that looks. This, go ahead and tuck it down and use a similar font that you're already using. You could use this and put it in a light gray so it doesn't scream, you know. That's one thing you could do. Let me make sure I'm looking at it correctly. Okay, be very careful with text over text. You can probably go in and change whether or not you see this. Watch now. From a lot of the video templates. Okay. Probably a little space here. You already have it here, so you could take that off And maybe you want to left align that too. Close it up, probably go a little smaller here, maybe the same size here. But yeah, we want to just kind of limit the fonts. I do like this. You could have it in the center and put video editor. Okay, so you've got your details there. Good. A little higher contrast there. Okay, great. Of course, we don't need that doubled. All right, great job. I'm excited about what everybody's doing this week. Chenier, nice. You know, I really was impressed with this color combo that you've got. It's looking good. Okay. You tell us exactly what you do. I think you could get a better image. We've got the light coming like from behind and a side light that doesn't, I'm not sure that's a natural light. And so I would, for you, I would try and get some natural lighting so we get a little more light on your face, and just a simple background is fine. Let's see, you don't have to do that for your next submission. That's just a thought. Okay. It doesn't bother me too much that that's double there. Good job here. Go ahead and put 2026. It's almost a new year. Okay. Let's see. It's a good image. That's a really good image. Okay. Be really careful about family photos, you know, that look like family photos. This looks like a professional commercial shot. So does this. So does this. This feels a little more like a location shot with a family. And even if it isn't, because we're here with these, it sort of feels that way. Okay. Not sure you need these links. You've got portfolio, and then they can go into this. So I wouldn't have the drop down. There's not so much that they need to have that kind of indexing. Okay. All right. Okay, let's check a look here. Nice. You are a designer. It's not bad. It's not bad. It's not bad. Operating hours, maybe less obvious, or maybe this comes down here. It seems like a lot of information before we get here, but maybe it's just this, or it could be this. That's maybe you just need to move the contact form up higher. I think that might be it. Put that here, and then all of this will naturally be below this. Okay. All right. Terrific. Great job. Let's see. And you're totally linked up. Make sure your brand is going across all of your work. So it still feels branded for sure, but you also might want to use your logo somewhere there. All right, great job. Let's look at another. Okay, nice, nice. Be careful with these shapes. Definitely close that space up. Great image. Make sure that's not your personal number. Can update. Okay. Nice and clean. Good job. Let's stick with the same fonts. Like this is larger and this is italic.
of right now.
Perfect. Let's make sure that this is not set to play automatically. The user wants to be able to control that. We never know where they are when they're listening to these things or checking out your site. I think this needs to tighten up a little bit. I would probably use this font for this. Let's see. So, okay, so there's your videos, all right. You have this image here. I feel like you like it, but this background is distracting. And we might want to get into the content a little quicker. Okay. That background, I think you want to remove that. This is a great addition to your color, but it feels like it's sort of trying to be that and not necessarily needed for functionality. So give that a thought. Maybe it'd be better right here if you want it to be at the forefront. Let's see. It's a cool shot, color-wise. That's a good one too. For the image that you had on your front page and the coloring, you could start going towards that earthy. You don't need this because we're going to have this everywhere. And you could have portfolio up here. It could even be a black rectangle with portfolio written in it, you know, in this little smaller than this. This font is fine, just not italic. And then you could use this image. And then you could have this over here be a little smaller. And you can, let's see, that's not a button. You're telling them to do this. I'm not sure. I'm not sure you need that. You know, on the one hand, it's good, you know, instructionally. But let's move these titles over here a little bit smaller, and maybe this smaller still. Even a screen reader will read it no matter how big it is. Okay. Okay. So yeah, and make all those set to not play automatically. All right. I think that will work. A little smaller. Make sure you weren't working out there. All right. Good job. You have everything. Nice work. I'm wondering. Okay. That is a, let me see. If it's in your about, it's the one of us. Yeah. Carry your brand over for sure. Like that would be the logo for your Instagram. Or you would use this here, but it doesn't tell us as much. Okay, great job. Let's, did we already look at the mobile here? I don't think so. Let's take a check. Okay, good. Okay. And of course, anything you do in your desktop will be showing on your mobile. Not true. If you make an adjustment on your mobile, it's not going to show up on your you've got it copyright. I don't think you need all rights reserved here. You can look into the legals on that, but I don't think you need it, and you can get a better break there. Okay. Yeah, I think that background script is not really working for you. It's not needed. Okay. All right. Nice work. Nice work. I'm looking forward to seeing this next week. Good job. Let's take a look at another one. Zaina, is this your photo? If it is, amazing. If not, make sure you replace it with something that is. And the other thing you want to do, we need to have some info about those. Great photo. Reduce your M dashes here. AI just loves those. It just overuses them. There's a few other things it does that are noticeable. This is placeholder. Take that out. And okay. Make sure you want them contacting a free Google or something that isn't directly to you. And yeah, that good. You know, take pictures like this. If this is what you love, look for the coloring and the things like this. You know, how to get that shot. And that's a way where you actually could use AI. You could say, hey, how do I get this photo? Where do I go? What time of day? What kind of lens, etc. You'll have to double check it. It won't necessarily be correct, but you can try. Okay, we do want to know what you do up here. We see it clearly here, but we need to have that here with your name. This will feel like a cloud, and I'm not sure that's what that is. Okay, flyby or fly out is not as convenient for people. Just keep that in mind. They have to keep doing this, but you are linked up everywhere. We do need to have a contact at the end, and it does need to have that form. So you need to make sure that you add a link up here. Okay. You can also add a page going into your pages and menu in Wix. Add a page, have it be your your contact page. When it gives you a choice of pages, select the contact, and it will just automatically add it, and all that will be there. And if you want, you can move this to that page, or you can just take this strip out, and you will, have a contact show up here. It will show up as a new page over here. You have to name it contact, but it'll be in that location. It will link to that, and you'll just have to update a little bit. All right, let's look at the mobile. Okay, a little bit of overlapping, right? We need to take a look at that. Easy to read. I like the unique color that you've chosen for yourself. Those are going to go down in the footer. That isn't, let's just have, those are going to the same place. So check that out. It makes me think it's not necessary. You could call home project or works, or you could remove the home on this case because it's going to the same place. In fact, so is the about. So you've got to link your about to here and probably give you put in a heading that says about. And then if we were down here, and if you were to freeze this, go into your header, click the orange up here, and you'll have an option, a gear there, setting to freeze it. Freeze your header, not heading, freeze your header. And then when you're in your mobile, make sure that it's also frozen. And that way your navigation will always be there. So even if you're here, you'll still have your navigation up here. It'll give you this. Everywhere you go, you'll have a space up here, your heading Your header will be right there, always. All right. Okay, one more, maybe a couple more. Good job. We need to have just your name and what you do a little more prominent. And remember, this is an image, it's not a logo. Okay. Logos are simple and can be easily scaled and printed. Lowercase I. And let's move your navigation up here to the top. You'll link up. It's super important. It's where people are used to looking, and people really like things to be quicker. Okay, I need a little more description about the work. Okay, you're a blogger, you say, but that feels a little like AI made it. I can't be sure. Okay. Okay, let's make this a little bigger and aim for an image eventually that doesn't have this doorway kind of thing, and maybe you're, outside in an area with you're in Tampa, find a lush kind of background that maybe you don't want to get a restaurant's signage with its name, but maybe, you could get a picture at an outdoor seating at some sort of cafe kind of thing that would relate. Because we need a little more. Okay, we've got this if I scroll. We need a little sharper images. And okay. All right. Yeah. Another thing you can do, see, we might need a scroll button so we know that there's more. And if it's a blog, let's make sure we have the same amount of space here as here, the vertical spacing. But it's probably going to link to something a little bit more. Not much, but you could have a more button here and it would have a little more, but you would have had to have written that. Okay. But it's a fun thing to be doing. Just make sure you're getting sharp images. But you've done a good job not getting signage on these. If these are yours, I hope these are yours. Okay. So we definitely need your name bigger. Okay. Make sure that that is a free Google Voice. Link up to professional accounts. All right, let's look at the mobile. Yeah, so kind of work with the overlaying there. Okay, works on the mobile better. Sometimes there's too much content on mobile. Yeah, we can't do really half faces as much. So unless there's a reason, and then and I can't see where there would be, it needs to be a sharper image. So yeah, something relevant to what you like to do and what you're saying here. All right, because you're really close. And if you didn't take this picture, maybe you did. If you did, awesome. If you didn't, then it would need to come out. Yeah. And then this would probably have to be centered, but this really needs to be bigger. Bites of the World can go, well, have to move a little bit because of this, but this is the main thing. I know it's a little different because for writing, you know, it feels like that should go there, but anyway, at least left align. You could probably left align both of these in this case and solve that issue. All right, great start, great job. Let's look at another. All right, Maureen. Good, 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 good. Okay. I think I mentioned this could go a little bigger. And you can update. Nice. Good. I would put a solid background up here in your header so that it doesn't overlap at all. Just provide a background this color. That's 100% opacity, and you won't have that happening. All right. Nice. All right. Good. Consistent and just the right amount of content. And linked up. Good job. Nice work, Maureen. Good work. Let's look at the mobile. Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure. I know usually we have a heading. I'm not sure you need that because you have this, and you could close that up a little bit and bring that content up. Maybe a little space here, a little less space there. Mostly just a little bit of space, just a little underneath those headings. I would use the same font. This is a different size. And just use the regular spacing there. You could break up into 3 paragraphs. But otherwise, fantastic job. Good work. We can see who you are, what you do. Love it. All right, one more. Just one more. So, Eric. We need to take this out of this box, this sectagon or whatever, or you could stretch it to where cinematographer fits. So if you're a digital cinematographer, that's what we want to focus on. Let's take these out. Just take those out. And we don't really need to have a sitemap down here. It's not a big site. And you do not want your address or your personal number. And you don't need your student email. You could just have the first one. Okay. Yeah, and then reduce the height of this footer so it's not so taking up so much space. I would take this and move it in. I'm not sure what this is telling me. This doesn't seem like yours. Okay, by Wix app. I would take this out. Okay. You can just take that home page off. Close that space up a little bit. Give us a little bit of info. underneath it. This background isn't ideal for you, for a cinematographer. It's more data and communications kind of thing, interconnectivity like towers. So that's what I would do. I would probably have this up here and bring this one up next to it and give a little bit of context underneath it. This is a good one, so maybe that one goes first. But that's what you need. This, you just don't even need that shape, but the home page, let's delete that. Let's take off this placeholder, removing that and that. And make sure you don't have a map to your house. Equal spacing, vertical spacing there. This is not loading for some reason. Okay. All right. Okay. All right, let's check out the mobile. Higher contrast here. Week 4 will ask you to do all that. I would remove that background, and you do that by going to your site design in Wix. It's right under your pages and menu, and it'll have page background, and then make it just black if that's the color you want. And make sure you apply it to every background page, every page of your website. Yeah, we want that background gone. All right, and that's going to be, we don't want to break any of that up. Okay. And you'll want to have a heading here that says, whatever you call it here, portfolio, work, you'll call it here. You only need to use one of those words. All right. Okay, so what everyone will do, you'll take the feedback, and then you're going to make a bulleted list for your revision, your task 1, and then you're going to make sure that you implemented all of these changes for your revision next week. All right. Good job, everybody. You've come a long way in just a short time. I hope that you're happy with your results so far. Keep it up and contact me if you have any questions whatsoever.